Okay, so I'm back. Went ahead and hit the ring with a little bit of sandpaper just to take some of the shine off it, as well as to take some of the edge off of those lines that I cut into it. They were a little rough from the file, so I just hit it with a little bit of sandpaper to take some of the shine off and to smooth those out a little bit. Next up, what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and glue it to our base. Went ahead and drew a circle on our base, just basically set it around here, grabbed a bigger felt pin this time so you guys could see, and traced around it. And I let my glue gun heat up, and now what I'm going to do is see if I can put me a couple of decent sized dots of glue on the inside, and hopefully I can get this all down before it cools too much on me and my glue doesn't stick. And that piece, believe it or not, I'm not going to glue down. It's just going to sit there because it's compressed inside the ring. Eventually when I go over it with my primer and stuff, the primer is actually going to glue it down for us. So there's no point in me trying to spread glue or something like that, because all it's going to do is just gum up the holes. So we'll get our piece down in there, and there's just enough. I got to clean up some glue. Still got one of these little strings of glue on the inside. If you don't get rid of those, you end up with things that look like spider webs inside of whatever you're working on. I guess if you're doing, like some dark elf spider cult stuff, they'd be fine. But these are the Tau. It's all about the greater good. Who needs spiders? So that piece is all set. We've got our dome all set. We've got our center column. We're just about done with this thing. All that's left to do now is find a way to keep the center column, or keep the dome from sliding around, and still be able to get figures in here. And I think what I'm going to do for that is I'm going to stick a magnet inside my dome. I'm going to stick a magnet on the top of this, and they'll click together, and you don't have to worry about them coming apart. So, off to go grab some magnets and get cracking. Okay, magnets. I'm a big fan of magnets, and I don't know of a wargamer who isn't. Probably the best thing in the world for keeping different things together that you need to be able to take apart again. So what I've got here are some small rare earth magnets. You can get them almost anywhere. These I got from, find the one that I dropped. These I got from Deal Extreme, oddly enough. I was ordering some other little bits, and they happened to pop up in their suggested items saying, hey, we carry magnets as well, so I picked them up from them. Normally I get mine from Amazing Magnets. They've got a really, really good selection, and they're dirt cheap. I mean, you get 100 of them for like $5. Come in all different shapes, sizes, so you don't really worry about them. These, I want to say, are what? These are, looks like just over, or about a 1/4 inch in diameter. So these are fairly large. So they're pretty decent size. What I'm going to do is grab a couple of them, and I'm going to glue one in the center of my dome, then match it up to the end of my foam, and we're all set. Now with this dome, getting it in the middle is actually rather easy, because it is round. It's going to want to go to the lowest spot. So kind of shake it until it gets to about the middle, and that looks about right. And actually we're going to, let's get to this pin. Give me a couple or 3 dots on either side so I know exactly where I want to glue it. There we go. So we got our glue. The dot or in the middle of our middle and press that down on there. So try and keep it in the middle without gluing our fingers together. This is why we use the low temp glue gun as opposed to a high temp gun. So that way, because I did get some on my fingers, but no burns. Get rid of our trusty spider webs. Got some spider webs. And we've got him glued down in there. Next up, we're going to take our support, and what I did on this one is, and I'm going to try and show you, is I beveled that just slightly. You know, took some sandpaper and just beveled the top edge so I've got a little bit of curve to better match the inside of our dome. What I'm going to do is I'm going to take this and press it down on the top, and we'll get a little indent. And that indent tells us where we need to put our glue for this one. This one, you could also flush mount this if I wanted to. I could actually dig down in here a little bit. This one just happens to be the right diameter that I can hit it with my knife, and it'll make a little indent. So I've got a little, there we go, little indent there. Pop some glue down in our indent. A little more level, so indent wasn't as level as I would have liked. I'll try and get it fairly flat at the bottom. Fill that space with glue, and make sure that you, before I fill it, make sure that you have the magnet going the right direction. So you know which way your magnet goes, because there's nothing worse than magnetizing something backwards. I'm going to go ahead and mark the top of this one with red. Put some red down in here as well, so that way I know red sides go together. So what I did is I stuck my extra magnets together, and that way I can mark them so I make sure that they all match. So these things will stick. Pull that one off. Put some glue down in here. Don't really need a lot. Just need enough. Okay. Once again, clean up our spider webs. Always have spider webs. A little bit of extra glue off my fingers. Okay, so we've got magnet glued in there, got our magnet there, and if we did it correctly, they'll stick together. Pretty cool. So got that on there. Let's set this back up in the middle. And that's really going to be it. So all that's left is to glue our centerpiece down, and then we can start putting some primer on this one and have this one about ready to go. So, get these extra magnets out of the way. Pull. See if we can get that about where we want it. Put some more glue on the bottom. In this case, I want a pretty decent amount of glue. Line it up and press it down. Fingers up underneath. Try and get to as centered as possible. And that looks about right. We've got our stuck down on there. Pretty stable. Put our dome on top. And that's pretty much our piece all set for it to go to the paint booth, where we can start slapping some paint on this one. And we're almost ready. So next up, we got to do something about this little base piece out here, add some detail to it. And to do that, I think we're going to go ahead and go grab us some rock and some regular glue, maybe some cork, and set this down into the tray. So I'll clean up stuff here, go grab all the basing materials, and get started on that.